And so today's topic is a really good one for bringing this series to a close, even though tomorrow's our formal close. And that is being a source of peace to others. And I'm going to broaden others out to be the world in general. So it could be others, the one that we live with, others, those in our inner circle, family and friends, those in our local community, national community, international, and beyond, all the world, and beyond the world if we're open or into that. There's been a lot of research that's been done that if you are feeling down, if you're feeling down, that you could just serve others and you will feel better. And there's some real potency there, isn't there? Have you ever found that when you focus on someone else, that you forget about the things that are bringing you down, or you forget about a particular discomfort? And it begs a deeper question to wonder, well, what's actually happening there? Is this a trick that I'm playing on myself? Is this a genuine placebo effect that I feel less ill or less depressed or less in pain when I serve others? Or is it actually traceable that I'm changing? And we're going to get into the subtlety of all of this because it it really can build momentum towards not focusing on the world and others to the detriment of yourself, but focusing on being the peace and then rippling it out to the rest of the world. That whether we choose to do that consciously or whether it happens unconsciously, that there's something actually happening there. There's something happening there. So I want to present to you a couple of different angles to look at this. And the reason that I'm doing that is to bring you, I want to have impact here, to bring you to a place where you go, wow, so my inner state does matter for the rest of the world. And if I'm faithful to that, in a way, that is enough. That is action and agency in and of itself. And when we are attentive, we know whether we are being ones of agency or not. But when I say if you are embodying peace, you're affecting the rest of the world. And if you believe that to be true, you will have the attentiveness to know whether you're avoiding being apathetic, uh, bypassing. You will know these things because you will be alive in that peace. So the question isn't here so simple as action shows itself through what our bodies are moving to do, but I see action as being the inner agency of alignment. And then everything else is an overflow, whether I go with my hands to serve a meal to the poor, whether I sit in an environment and meditate for everyone, whatever the action may be, it's the flowing from the inner alignment that creates the true impact here. And again, to remind you, because so often we want to create this black and white, well, service looks a certain way. And I this is my beliefs coming in. I do not believe that. Largely because I've experienced the power of meditation and prayer on my environment. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of examples of the power of meditation and prayer impacting not just my local environment, but the environment at large. So you can take or leave that, but it deserves you giving attention to it. What is the impact of my inner state on the world? And if you come to the conclusion that it matters, then it calls you into a real vigilance and protectiveness around your inner state. There is budding research done in sociology, in psychology, in neuroscience, and in quantum physics to see what the impact of prayer and meditation are in the environment. Now, if you look into it in some avenues, they're going to say, well, this is not necessarily bona fide research. Could be true, but there are many measures to verify impact, to verify information. We have certain scientific models, and we have esoteric scientific models as well. You have the many communities like Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza, and others that put a lot of funding into researching what is actually happening in the environment, not just within the person. And you do find that there are overwhelming results that our inner state, it's the greatest service we can ripple out to the rest of the world. And in reality, all service flows from that inner state. So how do I want to approach this? I'm going to just go through the numerous angles to stir your curiosity. The first one is so obvious. Think about a time that you were around someone that embodied a quality that then affected you. Perhaps they seemed to embody peace beyond words. And you found that just being in their presence or hearing their voice affected you. Maybe it let you drop into a certain quality of peace. Think about when that has happened in reverse. Now, you could reduce this down to psychology alone in relationships. When in a relationship between two people, if one person is embodying peace or presence, it's going to provide a safe environment for the relating to happen. So we've got all sorts of proof around the effects of individuals upon each other, depending on where they are. And you could broaden this out into group meetings. I'm making things up here, but I'm sure there are lots of examples. Think about if like somebody's in a PTA meeting and one member is really upset about something. It's going to affect the energy of the group. I mean, you can witness it. Either it will hit a resonance with unexpressed agitation in others, so it could kind of collect itself into a majority, or it could have people turn off and feel unsafe. There's interaction that happens there that we witness, proving over and over again the interconnectedness of the universe. I could give example after example after example. I know that when I used to substitute teach, which I did because I love kids and I don't get to serve children very often, and I love them, I found that if I was in a room where one or two of the children had real issues with acting out, it affected the whole group. Sometimes it gave license to others to do what they didn't really want to do. Other times, it pulled all the energy towards themselves, which made it very difficult to let the flow of the class maintain a certain movement and equanimity. I mean, it's observable, this impact. There is an energetic reality that happens in these situations and constellations. But is it just rooted in the senses? You could argue, if you were materialistic, that I'm affecting you if I'm filled with peace because you're literally hearing my voice. Or the classroom, one person is affecting the rest because they are literally seeing with their eyes the out of control behavior, and it sparks something to imitate. Or is it an energetic? Is it equally, if not more, what's called a non-local energetic, a non-electromagnetic field, which we would call subtle energy? Is that what is happening? I would argue that that's what is happening, that it doesn't take me touching you physically for you to be affected by my peace, or me by you. That subtle energy moves through boundaries even more quickly. I mean, think about in the Hebrew text, wisdom knows all things, penetrates all things by virtue of her power. What are they talking about there if they are not talking about some energetic reality being able to what? Penetrate all things. And I would say that these energetic fields are the only thing that can truly penetrate all things. And we'll get to what could be an argument about that. You could almost look at interactions that are those around us, those we are in contact with in some way, as being like chemistry experiments. And if in any social environment you add the ingredients, the right ingredients, then the chemistry experience produces a certain result. I mean, I just watched last night with a friend Saving Mr. Banks, which is the story of the author of Mary Poppins, P.L. Travers, and Walt Disney. And we went down the rabbit hole afterwards. We were watching some interviews. Over and over again, people were saying how moved they were to be in relationship with Walt Disney, that he brought up the whole room, yes, through his magnificence, but also through his infectious nature that brought the best out of everybody else. People wanted to be inspired, wanted to be curious, wanted to tap into their potential. There was one person that infected a massive environment that you could say as well rippled out in its fruits, right? Whether it's maintained in its integrity or not, it's not really the question, because we are always unstable as an environment. We're always dynamic as an environment, and ingredients that are added in always affect. But his effect is, for what I was seeing in the interviews, almost indisputable. It was a chemistry. Whatever his ingredient was infected what he was. It was so strong. Then we bring it into the idea of intentions. Do intentions affect the environment? So if I'm in a state of peace and calm, I may not have the intention to affect my environment. That just may not be on my mind. But what happens when intention is there as well. Do intentions affect environment? I'm being brought back to a story from the 6th century that produced the beautiful Orthodox hymn called the Akathist that I've done pieces of in certain gatherings. That Akathist came about, and only paraphrase the story because I don't remember it entirely. There was a community that was being attacked by another faith tradition, I believe, or another country or group. And what did they do? Because they did not have the ability to defend themselves with weapons, they poured themselves into prayer to Mary, Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary. And they poured it on with intention. And the elements conspired to bring the group that was attacking into destruction. They were saved through intention. And it didn't just happen by letting everybody experience joy or peace. A physical reality happened. Intentions. Intentions coupled with the energy kind of magnified the power there. I remember I experienced it probably, very profoundly in the monastery. I have tons of examples, but I also experienced it when my mom and dad got involved in the charismatic movement, where prayer, active prayer, the belief of healing through laying on of hands, through prophecy, through prayer, through tongues, through all of this, was reaping unbelievable impact in the environment. Instantaneous healings of cancer, instantaneous healings of other physical maladies, instantaneous healings of troubled relationships, sweeping through intention. And then you could take intention to a more global level. Think of Gandhi, the intention that was there. He was committed internally to his internal state of how he was living. And he was moved by intention, wasn't he? He was impassioned by intention. And we could look at it on the other side. Think of Hitler. I'm using very dramatic examples, aren't I? But that shines a light on as the large, so to the little. Massive intention. And he embodied with great passion that intention. He was rooted in that intention. He was energetically living that intention. Think of the impact. And that shines a light then on something else. Not only was the environment affected around them on a mass level, but the environment is still affected energetically by the embodiment and the intention of those two individuals. Think of how a quote by Gandhi is used in a keynote talk or in a retreat. What he wrote still being dissected and reflected upon, influencing. Even me using the example right now influences you. I'm sure that if you rested into the feeling of Gandhi for just a moment, you'd be like, we're so blessed he was alive. And if you rested into the feeling of Hitler, you're like, I wish that never happened, right? Which points then to the impact of the internal state upon the time-space continuum. It goes beyond the person's physical existence. The rippling effect of our internal state. And they couldn't achieve the strategies and the policies and the things they put into place if they were not harnessing the internal energy towards that. there is the added ingredient that we might call resonance. Think about when you have felt resonant with someone or something. It goes beyond words, doesn't it? Showing that this, this effect of things, this impact of things, is not contained, it's not the words themselves. It's the energetic of the words. And what does it do? It stirs something within you that is beyond the mind and beyond just the feeling. That is at times conscious. That would be the active participation of the synchronicity and miracles of alignment. And the unconscious, where you are still surprised by these synchronicities and miracles that happen around you. And then we get into taking this impact and energy intention even further. I know that I have facilitated a few quantum jumping experiences and things like this. This is just an example, which draws upon principles that are proven by science: quantum coherence, entanglement, tunneling, and more, showing us or inviting us into the possibility that we can shift realities instantaneously. And where do we have proof of this? Most poignantly, multiple personality disorders, where you see in the very person a shift that shows forth so completely that one personality will be allergic to cheese and the other person won't. And it says, well, wow, could I do that too? Could I shift so radically that I wouldn't recognize myself? Yes. Think back to ways that you don't recognize yourself anymore through your personal growth. And maybe it was a slower process and not so instantaneous. What is actually happening there, if not a shift in being? A shift in being. And then we can take this even further. Parallel universes that are pretty commonly held now. And a parallel universe is seen in some ways to not be connected to the other universes. For instance, can I just say, I'm going to start living in this other parallel universe? Well, we're not really connected to these parallel universes. But I would pose the possibility that even the fact that we could think about that parallel universe reveals to us a connection, because thought is connection. And if thought is connection, then there is an energetic that makes it possible for us to connect in other ways as well. And I've had parallel universe experiences, so I'm aware of this reality. And then we take it a step further. Other realms, connections with parts of the universe that aren't part of Earth, connections with realms that aren't part of this 3D creative reality. How might this show up in a way that you could hold on to it? Think about when, like I've used the Divine Master cards a lot lately, when you've drawn a card and the message speaks to you, or you feel a presence. Think about when you feel a deep connection to some holy being, whether it was a saint that used to live on this earth, whether it's a spiritual being like an angel or an archangel or a master or a guru or a goddess, and you feel the presence. You feel the presence. What is that, if not a rippling of connectedness. So I have just downloaded on you an immense amount of argument for my premise that your inner state affects, impacts more than what you could possibly imagine. And you have the opportunity to really harness in your intention, to trust, to believe that you might see, to relax in to the truth that your inner alignment is enough. And in fact, all action is most impactful when it comes from this place. So I invite you with this reflection to, I don't know, take one aspect of it and go down the rabbit hole a little bit with your thoughts, with your reflections, with coming up with examples, with maybe arguing both sides, trying to tease out. I mean, obviously, I'm giving a compelling argument for one viewpoint. Look at it from some other viewpoints. Go down the rabbit hole on YouTube. Start researching research the known science around these things or not. Because there are aspects of science that argue against these things. For me, it's so self-evident that I can understand other perspectives, but I can't feel any resonance in them or truth in them. So I am coming biased by my experience. So what we're going to do today for our practice is we're actually going to do a litany. And a litany that it comes from this is not a Christian litany, but I do have a lot of experience with litanies in the Catholic tradition and loved them. They're trance-like because they get us into an energy of opening up to connection with these various individuals. But what we're going to do, and I'm going to invite your flexibility around how we do this. What we're going to do is I'm going to actually draw upon entities and beings of all backgrounds, So I will not be able to really, really have the breadth with the time we've got to bring in all the amazing masters and gods and goddesses of all the traditions, but a little here and a little there, a little Celtic, a little Hindu, a little of this, a little of that. And we are actually going to use the phrase, pray for us. But I want to invite you to just don't limit yourself to be bound up by, is that submissive? Is this low self-worth? Am I in asking intercession? Let pray for us be a broader phrase. Think about if you were with a friend and you were going, you wanted to either open up more to joy or you were wanting to open up to healing, whatever it might be. And that person says, I'll hold you in my heart, or I will pray for you, or I'll hold you in my meditation. There would be gratitude of connection there because that person's caring for you. Let it be like that. But I'm using pray for us because it's the easiest phrase. I'm going to tone the entity. You're going to respond to pray for us. So let me just use a typical Catholic one. Holy Mary, Mother of God. You're going to respond, pray for us. Okay. Sarasvati, pray for us. Saint Bridget, pray for us. Okay, it's going to be that simple. And all you're going to do through that phrase, pray for us, is open up to the presence. And that presence could be literal, archetypal, energetic, but let your intention be there that you want to experience something. And you're not going to know all of these various entities. Know some of them, but not all of them. All right, I invite you to close your eyes. And as we prepare ourselves to be impacted by the presence of those that will come forward in this litany, I invite you with me to place the intention that this experience will ripple out to all creation, will uplift the world, will let the world remember, individually and collectively, that they are the divine. Kyrie eleison. Christe eleison. Kyrie eleison. And we invite in all those friends, known and unknown, our guides, angels, archangels, masters, goddesses, gurus, ancient ones, benevolent loved ones, ancestors who embody goodness. We invite you all to be with us in this contemplative practice we call litany. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us. Mary Magdalene, pray for us. Jesus, pray for us. Sarasvati, pray for us. Durga, pray for us. Shakti, pray for us. Shiva, pray for us. Gayatri, pray for us. Lakshmi, pray for us. Parvati, pray for us. Prithvi, pray for us. Matangi, pray for us. Kuan Yin, pray for us. Chango, pray for us. Lao-Tzu, pray for us. Buddha, pray for us. Radha, pray for us. Mirabai, pray for us. Rumi, pray for us. Kabir, pray for us. Hafiz, pray for us. Rabia, pray for us. Saint Francis, pray for us. Saint Dominic, pray for us. John the Beloved, pray for us. Perpetua, pray for us. John of the Cross, pray for us. Teresa of Avila, pray for us. Therese, pray for us. Tara, pray for us. Tripura Bhairavi, pray for us. Tulsi, pray for us. Sita, pray for us. Aurora, pray for us. Diana, pray for us. Fortuna, pray for us. Juno, pray for us. Metatron, pray for us. Michael the Archangel, pray for us. Raphael, pray for us. Gabriel, pray for us. Ariel, pray for us. Ashtar, pray for us. Uriel, pray for us. We take a moment in silence. And we begin again. Risha, pray for us. Hel, pray for us. Saga, pray for us. Idun, pray for us. Nana, pray for us. Claudia, pray for us. Morrigan, pray for us. Inviting in a breath again. Opening to the presence, all these entities that love us and invite our love. And one last short round. all our loved ones, pray for us. Benevolent ancestors, pray for us. Holy shamans of all native communities, pray for us. Light weavers and doers of good, pray for us. Individuals of good intentions, pray for us. Extraterrestrials who are embodiment of love, pray for us. Realms made up of goodness and love, pray for us. Guides and guardians, pray for us. Your higher self, pray for us. All those unknown to even our minds, pray for us. And once again, we allow the power of our gathering and the power that is beyond our gathering that has brought us together to ripple out to all the world. And when you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes. Blessings, my friends. Have a wonderful day.